Hey everyone, Michael, Overland Bound. Here's a video I probably should have made a long time ago. Today, we're going to go through how to create your own limb risers. What are limb risers? I get asked all the time what the cable going from the front of my bumper to the top of my roof rack is. That's called the limb risers, and they prevent branches from slapping into your windshield. And if you've got equipment on the front of your truck like antennas, a whip antenna, the snorkel, or other gear, it helps to push the branches out of the way so that they don't get hung up and potentially rip that expensive hardware off your Overland rig. Also, it keeps the branches just a little bit more away from your windscreen so that your field of view is that much better. If you're wondering if you need them, if you use your rig on narrow trails, you do. You've heard me say before, we don't mind the desert pinstriping. That's because we use our trucks, we get it out there in the brush, and that's when limb risers really come in handy. Little point of fact, it's not just for overlanding. In logging, you'll see some of the trucks or the cats, the bulldozers, that have these steel pipes that go from the front to the top to protect the canopy from much larger branches. But for what we do, we just need a very durable cable to brush those branches aside. And they can brush branches aside up to 2 or 3 inches at a fairly high rate of speed if you happen to get yourself into that situation. So today, we're going to look at some of the gear, some of the hardware that's required to make the limb risers. It's relatively simple, but there are some tips and tricks that will help make the job go a little bit smoother. All right, let's get started. Okay, taking a look at some of these components. This is a simple turnbuckle. The important thing is that you get all stainless steel hardware. It will last forever. Don't get anything cheaper. You'll see a couple of different variations, but this will tighten the cable once you have everything all linked up. This is how you form your eye loops. These are simple crimping hardware. Once you run your cable through here, you slam it with a hammer and screwdriver or chisel to crimp this down on your cable, and I'll show you how that works. And these are simple end caps, and they work in the same way. You put your cable in the end, you hit it with a hammer, and it keeps it from pulling through. The cable itself is probably the most important thing. Again, you want to get stainless steel cable. This is called aircraft cable. It is stainless interior with a rubberized coating on the outside. And altogether, what I went with was a 3/16 inch cable. There's a little bit of variation, but this size cable has always worked just fine for me. Now we'll see how to put this stuff together. All right, now this next part might be a little bit disconcerting to you guys. I leave it up to you. What I opted to do on my top rail is to actually drill into the top rail of the roof rack, because it is just more secure than looping a cable around, and that turnbuckle needs to be really secure in order to get this really tight. So I'm going to admit to you that I have cheated. I have already drilled the hole in this roof rack. But really simply, what you want to do is take a metal punch on the top of your roof rack to give yourself a little ding, a little nick, a little indentation. If you don't, it will be almost impossible to drill a hole into a round tube. Then get any drill bit suitable for a carbide drill bit suitable for drilling metal and drill your hole straight through. It won't take too much effort. Always use your safety goggles. Won't take too much effort. You'll have a hole in there. The other thing you want to do is hit it with some kind of paint or weatherproofing so that it doesn't rust. So you want to make sure to give it a nice coat of weatherproof paint. And then your turnbuckle will fit right there and be very secure so that you can tighten up that cable. All right, now let's make our cable. Okay, when you are getting ready to make your cable, make sure you measure the cable length before you put this thing together. You need it to be as tight as you can make it. You want to have to pull this and really pull it tight in order to drop it down into this rail, because you need to give yourself enough tension to be able to tighten this cable. If it's too loose, then you'll tighten this turnbuckle and you won't be able to get a tight cable. And having this be really tight is essential. So make sure that you measure and have it as tight as possible even before you adjust this. Okay, now I had limb risers on and I'm reusing a piece of cable, which is why this looks bent, but I'm frugal like that. And what I've done is I've just fed this clamper right onto the cable. Got to make sure when you measure, of course, that your turnbuckle is all the way extended. Make sure you slip this through. Get this other end through there. Now, I remembered when I measured that I really want to get this in as much as I can. All there is to it at this point is to crimp this down like this. Okay, that's not coming out of there. I'm going to do it on this side for good measure. Move that cap on. Slam it with a hammer. There you go. That's not coming off. Creating the other end of the cable for your bumper is the exact same exercise. You thread the cable through, put it in your crimp, put an end cap on it, make sure it's very secure, and it's a pretty simple job. It's just like doing the other one. Okay, now the moment of truth. Let's get this set up. Pull this up here. Woohoo! All right. Well, this is going to be a chore, but that's what we want. Boom. Got it in there. It's very tight, which is good. That's what we want. We want this to be very tight. And when it's that tight, you're going to need some assistance putting this cable on. Get yourself a wrench. Hold this cable in one area so that it doesn't spin. Tighten away. Now, you're going to have a lot of leverage, so you want to test the cable, make sure you're not getting too tight. There we go. How does it feel? pretty good. Put that on a little bit more. Once you're done with this project, after a few days, come back and tighten it up just a little bit more again, because your cable is going to stretch the first few days. Oh, there, that's good. All right, that's all there is to it.